The Square Ball Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the show. It's brought to you with Levi Solicitors. levisolicitors.co.uk/the Square Ball for 10% off your legal fees. Dan, Michael and Rob here in the main weekly show. Episode 255, I think, if we've numbered them correctly. That's a lot, isn't it?
It seems like a lot.
Been going a while now, hasn't it, this? It's the Leeds United fan show for Leeds United fans, where we'll talk about Leeds United and stuff that's going on in Leeds United's world. 3 parts to this. We will preview Chelsea and Man City in part 2, and then part 3 we will pick our heroes and villains. In part 1, we'll get into the latest Leeds United news in just a tick. First things first, if you are watching on YouTube, you can get this on YouTube and in your podcast app as well. YouTube, look at what we're wearing. Look at that.
Just had in between pods, we've had a merch drop. Look at this. Wow.
It's the Leeds Carajo Ho Ho Christmas jumper. And Michael, do you want me to hold that closer to one of the cameras so we can see it? Oh, is it in shot there? That's our quite expensive bauble thing. Tree decoration.
There we go. Very nice it is.
And as I said before, you can actually, if you look at it, it will fit nicely over a coffee cup. So if you want to dust your coffee with cocoa afterwards and look like a barista, then you can do after you've taken it off your tree.
Use it all year round, that's what you're saying.
Exactly. 12-month use out of a Christmas decoration. What's that about? You can find all the merch via the website. Have a look at that. And we've got discounts on the merch as well if you're a TSB Plus subscriber, so details on the website for that as well. Part 1 is the news then, and we are recording this lunchtime on Tuesday, and we've seen a bit of a spat develop between...
Phil Hay slammed.
Between Andrea Radrizzani and Phil Hay and other associated people in Phil's orbit at the Athletic about this report that the 49ers have a deal in place to buy Leeds United for a total price in excess of 400 million, going up to 475 as it's reported by, is it January 2024, the report says. So first things first, doesn't come as a surprise, does it?
Does to Radrizzani, doesn't it, I think?
It's because it's wrong.
Why is it wrong?
It just is. Well, we might as well just say exactly what he has said. For someone as good as you, which I guess he means Phil Hay, I expect more. Or the Athletic in general, I'm not sure. Or Matt Slater, who was kind of co-written this, I think. Asa has an option to void the call, effect before 2024. But the main point is that we are only focused on working together and growing Leeds United. Anything can happen between now and 2 years' time, when many may have forgotten the article.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of what the article says, isn't it? Because that's the kind of interesting point in the article, is that it says Radrizzani's company, Asa, has the option to void the deal should they purchase another club, which is what Radrizzani has made reference to in the past, of kind of creating a network of clubs. But that is acknowledged in the story.
And Matt Slater does say that. He does respond to one of the tweets there. That option to void is in the story that Radrizzani is bitten back with by saying, we can call this off if we want to. That option to void is in the story, Andrea, and you're right, anything can happen in 2 years, particularly in football, but nothing was spoken to. Lots of people. Nobody was spoken to thinks you will exercise that option, and they said that with utmost respect for the work you've done at the club. And it's pointed out in the article as well, is that, for the next level and the stadium development stuff, it's going to involve a huge amount of money. And there is a question in there about whether Radrizzani has the resources available to him to do that, or whether it could well be that he is part of sort of the consortium going forward, albeit with a smaller role or whatever. But it's going to take hundreds of millions, isn't it, to kick on to the next level? And so it's an open question as to whether we have that as it stands under the current model, or whether it will flip over to the 49ers. And, whenever we speak to Phil's saying it's going to flip over past 51% soon. So interested to see how it plays out, won't it? Especially as he's bitten back, which never feels like a good idea to me. But
yeah, he's got a bit of a history for this, hasn't he, of getting stuff out on Twitter. But I suppose equally he could say it's a nice, quick, direct way of being able to discuss these things, whereas before you'd have had to go via a newspaper and get your side across that way. You can just come out and...
You could have got Kinnear to do some programme notes, maybe.
Could have done. They've been successful.
Well, we should...
Could have got Victor Orta to yell at someone.
We should make sure we ask Phil, actually, on Thursday and say, well, were Leeds United and Radrizzani and Asa or whoever approached for comment on this story before it was put into print, as it were, albeit on a website? Because you would assume that somebody has offered them the chance to reply to the story before it went and got published.
Yeah, you would guess so, but I don't think it's. I don't think it's all that groundbreaking, is it? As a story that they might buy us at some point.
Well, given that they've been gradually increasing their stakeholding, you wouldn't have, like I said, it's not a surprise, is it? You wouldn't have thought it would come as any shock if they went past 51% and beyond.
Only 7% off it now, aren't they? So
it'd be strange if they got to that point and went, nah.
Yeah, 44%'s just right. I love it here.
Well, 49 is, as Moscow said, like on the blog and whatnot, like 49 it's the perfect place to be for the 49ers, isn't it? But, all that money pumped in, but no control. But
no control.
There is no control. So, yeah. What does it mean for Leeds United? I don't know.
I mean, I'm not mad about having foreign owners. This is where we probably get into Angus Kinnear talking about regulatory stuff and all that. But I mean, I'd rather we didn't probably have American owners. But then compared to most other owners, they seem fairly decent. So I just don't like ownership structures in football in general. I feel uneasy that people without any particular links to the club are going to be owners.
But surely in that kind of just a throwback.
Oh, completely. Yeah,
opinion. I mean, we spent ages on the propaganda podcast taking the piss out of Brentford and saying the Premier League should be made up exactly A, as it was when we were 13, and B, at our whims. And
yeah, and ownership the same.
Yeah,
I want like a local furniture maker to own it or something, who was brought up on the terraces and has only the best intentions for the club and doesn't even want to make any money from it, which I do realise is completely unrealistic.
Is that why someone like Pete Lowy is it Lowy or Lowy is attractive as a proposition because he's got wealth and long-term fandom?
Yeah, I suppose so.
He owns a furniture shop of sorts, in that he owns the building that the furniture shop goes inside, and the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be probably underselling his business empire to say he owns a furniture shop. You don't really get.
Well, tell Mr. IKEA that.
That's true. But they seem fine, don't they? From what we know of them.
In comparison to the alternative, when there was flirtations with Qatari owners at PSG for quite a while, which dragged on. Yeah, I'd take this instead.
People do disagree with that, though, don't they? And they say, what I want is a bottomless pot of money. I mean, we've seen what's happened at Newcastle. As I said around that, I don't think we can pretend that if Qatar did, at a later date, let's say, buy out the 49ers, that it wouldn't be welcomed, broadly speaking, and people would turn a blind eye to all that human rights stuff. But, I say all that human rights stuff like it's just a passing thing, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I'm surprised at how much Newcastle fans have embraced it.
But they're desperate.
I have to say. I thought they might at least go, well, we'll have the players, but still, could you just leave off that whole public floggings thing for a while? But they kind of have gone, it's fine. as long as we get rid of John Joe Shelby in midfield, we don't really care.
Who really wants James Tarkowski that much? I don't really understand it.
It's true. It's a low price, isn't it, for human rights? But never mind. They don't seem to be. They're not proper bastards anyway. The 49ers. I think we can fairly conclusively say that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe, like I say, attached to that, there's a degree of sentiment about losing the stadium that we've all grown up milling around in, that's falling to pieces and all the rest of it, and becoming more corporate and glossy. But this is the pond that we're swimming in now, isn't it? It's the Premier League, and it's a hateful place, but it's better than the next option, which is the Championship, which is just awful.
Yeah, and the stagnation that you essentially get by clinging to those things, eventually it does grind you down as well, doesn't it?
Are you suggesting that the 1955, 56, whenever it was that the West Stand was built, it's not fit for purpose anymore?
Can we just take it and keep it complete? Move the whole thing back a bit so we can still
Fulham Park.
So we can still look at it sometimes, maybe, and just remember.
Maybe that's what they could do, actually, if they do build like a secondary stadium.
I was going to say, like Man City's training ground, we can just move bit by bit the current Ellen Road there.
Although I think, given the amount of lead paint and asbestos in it, it's probably best off dealt with by specialists and thrown straight in a bin.
It'll give the kids a good grounding in the under-23s to play this dilapidated, dangerous ground.
But we've played at Man City this year. Look at the state of this place. It's good for you.
Wooden seats, nothing wrong with them.
Brilliant. On to the FA Cup draw that was made Monday evening. We've got West Ham away.
The only FA Cup draw we will have any interest in this year.
Did you watch it?
Yes.
And did you watch it, Rob?
I didn't know.
No, I watched it live. And first of all, I was irritated by ITV4 only showing the first 20 numbers or whatever it was. And then as the balls got drawn out, the numbers moved up. Why they couldn't have shown all the numbers at some point, or even flashed them on screen once you go, right. So in case you missed it, 21 Leeds United.
I'll generally show, they highlight kind of the interesting ones, don't they? So they'll show sort of Premier League teams and then some of the non-leaguers, so you can see like St Albans or whoever was
Boreham Wood,
you can see them, so when they're coming out, obviously it seems like Brentford or whatever, they don't need to be listed because no one really cares. Like if you get Brentford, whatever, but it's
QPR you'd want to see.
Yeah, QPR
as one of the heritage sort of Premier League clubs.
Yeah, but it was odd how they just because like Tottenham were drawn out at one point, and then you were like, I didn't realise they were even necessarily still in this.
But as that panel shrunk and we made our way onto it, and I just saw
Leeds Arsenal.
Yeah. But there were loads of Premier League. Man City were still in there, Man United as well, Villa, and I thought, we're going to get a really crap tie. And as it was, we got is it a crap tie? What do you think?
They're kind of an acceptable team to lose to, which we inevitably will, I imagine.
But isn't it shit having to go into it with that opinion? But then again, you set that against where we are in the Premier League and the absolute need to stay in it. And I don't know, this is the thing about the Premier League, isn't it? It's just so unromantic when you think, well, I'm fine to write that off and any ambitions of glory and hope, because it's far more important to stay that so we can build a mega dome.
I mean, I'd love us to win the FA Cup. I've got to be honest. I think but the problem with it is that, as we'll probably come on to in previewing Chelsea and Man City,
because we do preview every week, don't we, in this show?
We do, yeah.
It's worth saying for any new viewers or listeners that we do a preview section of the games that are coming up.
But that they can go into the FA Cup and not take it that seriously and still get to like the semi-finals by playing their incredibly good, worth £500 million reserves, and
not even look like they're enjoying it, like City fans at Wembley watching them beat Watford 6-0, and you thought, it looks like the Watford fans are having more fun than you.
I mean, what is it about the Cup? I mean, we've done some diving into this with stats and records and stuff, and we've been knocked out in the third round 4 seasons in a row.
And it's not just difficult draws either. I mean, Crawley and Newport are within that.
Did you see that Crawley were trashing us via Twitter when the draw was made and West Ham said we will face Leeds in the third round, and Crawley quote tweeted it saying, "Don't worry lads, it's easy."
Fair enough.
Yeah, they even brought a reality TV star on.
Yeah, you've got to take that, haven't you? I suppose. Just be like, yeah,
fair enough.
We had Kiko in net in our defence.
Yeah. So they had a reality star. We had a star of the circus.
Exactly. So, it would be nice to be a bit better in the FA Cup. We do have an unusually terrible record in it. I mean, I'm not sure who's put the kind of the full breakdown of the last 10 years on it or whatever, but 2015-16 was the last time we had anything and it doesn't even really constitute a cup run, does it? It would beat Rotherham and Bolton before losing to Watford.
I was going to say, it speaks volumes that I have no memory of any of this, really. Is Watford the game where Wootton scored the own goal, maybe?
Was it the one Belushi was sent off in? I can't remember. It was all in that blur. We never thought we were going to win it anyway, did we? Let's be honest.
No, we've had 9 consecutive away draws as well. So you've got to ask the question: Are they heating the balls there in that little pot that they have at Wembley? So don't get the warm one, leave the warm one.
Who was it that did the draw last night?
David Seaman.
David Seaman did the away teams.
And where did they do it? Are we in the Sean Harvey idea of doing it in outer space yet?
Not yet.
I tuned in about halfway through because I was watching it on Twitter.
Right.
So I'm not sure where they were doing it. Was it in
Wembley?
Wembley?
It was in one of the function rooms somewhere in Wembley. Yeah, it was overlooking the stadium about 2/3 of the way up. So it may be one of the banqueting halls or something. I don't know.
David Seaman's a very jolly man, isn't he?
He was, yeah.
Every ball he drew out, he was giggling at as if
it'd make a very
as
good.
if Wigan was itself worthy of a laugh.
Make a very good Santa, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would. He'd be great. I like David Seaman.
He's a jolly man and he's a Leeds folk. But yeah, he picked us out. But he picked us out away to West Ham. I mean, yeah, just looking down this,
we play him twice in 2 weeks now as well, don't we?
Rubbish.
That's always a bit annoying when that happens.
I was thinking that I have kind of blocked out all recollection of us going to West Ham last year. I just can't remember. It's just such an uninspiring.
We were in blue and green. Well, it was one of the few blue and green trips we had. And
I know we got beat, but
we lost. Yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't really set the pulses race in this one.
No. 9 consecutive away draws, and we've only had 1 home draw in 9 years, which stretches 12 games. When we've gone past the third round, and that is, it's Rotherham at home in 2015-16. Last time we had a victory in the FA Cup 2016-17 when we beat Cambridge away in the third round, and then we lost away to Sutton in the...
Should have just lost at Cambridge.
In the fourth round, yeah.
Would have saved a certain amount of humiliation, wouldn't it? That was the old pie-eating incident, wasn't it, where the obese reserve goalkeeper
did a stunt for a gambling firm or whatever, wasn't it? Or a newspaper. God.
And that's the magic of the FA Cup, isn't it? A non-league goalkeeper eating
And
a
that
pie.
was that the Mackay twins playing, or was it Billy? What was he called?
It was Billy Whitehouse, wasn't
Yeah.
it? And one of the Mackays. He was awful. He looked so uncomfortable with the ball at his feet. I've never seen a man get rid of a ball quite as quickly. As soon as it was, even if he had loads of space, he was just like, nope. The longer I have this, the more obvious it will be. I cannot play football.
It was the Gary Monk making a point about the squad thing, wasn't it? Around the January window, I don't know.
Should have got James Featherstone to sign a few players, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. So it kind of it's that disappointing thing of it kind of knocks the wind out of your sails thinking about a cup run, doesn't it? Because as much as we are being like dead pragmatic about it, like you say, Michael, you'd love a cup run, you'd love to win it at some point. I'd like to just see us win it in my lifetime.
Just win something.
Yeah,
it'd be so nice to just have a nice joyous day at Wembley, and not one where I get to turn up and see us not score a goal and barely have a shot and get spanked and then traipse back up north.
Have you ever seen anything good at Wembley? Either a football match or a concert?
I've seen Leeds Rhinos win in the Challenge Cup a few times. I can't say I particularly enjoy going though. Like it's too nice. Like we were just saying about Ellen Road, kind of loving how horrible it is. It's too nice, Wembley. You go and it's an amazing view, and the seats are really comfy. I just think
there's a lot of leg room, isn't there? Like, I mean, I nearly lost a leg in the celebrations against who do we just play? Brentford.
Brentford, yeah. Easy to forget.
I can never remember the name. Brentford at the weekend. And that was by virtue of the fact that the seat in front of me in the East Stand is about 30 centimetres, if not, from the edge of my seat. If that, actually, probably less.
It is really inadequate, that leg room. When I was in there as like a fairly short 14-year-old, there wasn't really enough leg room. So I don't know what they were thinking when they designed that.
I realised that when that goal went in and with my shin injury, I don't actually know how I got it fully. I know it involved, when you have that massive rush of adrenaline. I don't know if to say this on the match ball or not. I forget. Massive rush of adrenaline where your head goes. You feel like you're going to black out, but it's adrenaline. You're not going to black out. And then I found myself on some seats, and I was either falling backwards over them, or I don't know if I was forwards or back or what. And then next thing I knew, I was kind of, my leg was hurting, and I was back where I was supposed to be. But it had involved a tumble at some point, like an old lady.
I will say I've never had to endure a tumble at a Leeds Cup final, because we've not scored a goal in them. In my three I've been to, the Coca-Cola Cup, and then obviously Donny and Watford.
Well, I went to the Charity Shield against Liverpool, and we won that, obviously. That was good.
Yeah, it's not high stakes, though, is it, Charity Shield?
And that was I think, that was sort of put into context as we were approaching the ground, because I think we took more fans to Wembley than Liverpool that year, and I think my dad might have remarked to a witty Scouser as we were walking towards the stadium, like, what, how come you haven't sold all your tickets? We've sold more than you. He goes, we get here every couple of years, mate. You're like, fair enough.
Yeah, but let's win it this time. I'll just lose to West Ham, as we probably will. It depends how seriously they take it, in fairness, as well, because they're in contention for Champions League, and they might decide they don't want the distraction and they're going to try and push on and get fourth.
We should win it. We should win it, shouldn't we, actually, thinking about it, because it's going to be 50 years since 72, isn't it, this time? So it'll be the 150th anniversary of the Cup. Obviously, it stopped for the war and stuff like that, but it's the 150th birthday of the FA Cup, so there's nice symmetry there. If we could win it every 50 years.
Through diving headers only.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll put it into the FA.
I should say as well, speaking of the FA Cup, and now got the image of Billy lifting the cup, we are recording on the anniversary of Billy Bremner's passing 24 years ago, and it's absolutely terrifying. As I get older, realising he was only 54 when he died. Just because you look at Billy Bremner, and to me, growing up through the 80s, he was an old man, but then you realise, Christ, that's me now.
Yeah, it's funny, on the way here I was just listening to John Sheridan talking about Billy Bremner, just saying how much he loved him and stuff. So yeah, it's one of those, it comes around every year, isn't it? And you think, God, it was actually a very long time ago now. I remember it happening, and it was it being such a big thing. But yeah, it's always worth marking it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And on to the 23s. We'll do that in a second. Let's mention the FA investigation first, because of Canos. We dealt with it a bit over on propaganda, and I dare say we'll deal with Canos a bit in Heroes and Villains. But no doubt they're going to throw the book at us.
Are we going to receive some sort of award for this prize? Some extra points?
Is that what you think we should get?
I think so. I think if they review the footage carefully, they'll go, right, ban for Canos, and a little bonus for Leeds.
I've still not seen the footage of exactly what happened. I know it involved a flying pint pot at least, didn't it? But there was some talk of a lighter and
I don't. They didn't
I mean, on the match ball, you were advocating darts, weren't you?
Yes. Crossbows.
Again, should just be really clear.
It is a joke.
It's a joke.
I don't want to see anyone badly injured apart from Canos. No, it was. He got up and was very clearly smiling and laughing as he ran back towards the halfway line.
Oh, really?
So he wasn't badly hurt.
But that will not feed into what happens.
You still can't really throw shit at people, can you?
From this point, and we shouldn't.
Unless it's actual shit. Maybe that'd be better.
Examining the CCTV footage and spotting somebody just curling one out.
There was the
bloke next to you in the cop going, what are you doing?
There was the Sunderland shitter, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Do you remember the Sunderland shitter?
Was he sat at the back of the ground or something?
He was really. There was a really outrageously drunk. I think he was like a teenager. I think he was like 19 or something in the Stadium of Light, and he had his
Stadium of Shite,
and he was busy having a shit in the stands, and he seemingly didn't know where he was. In the same way as people like pissing wardrobes and stuff.
Yeah.
He obviously didn't realise he was in a football ground.
There was a guy in the cop. I can't remember whether it was West Ham or Watford, but he was in a bad way and started throwing up at half time, and as the second half was kicking off, he was still throwing up. Just the whole row, everyone just sort of left a space around him.
Bing bong, clean it to aisle 5, please. Oh, dear me. On to the 23s. Lost again. Leicester.
Jackson out.
It's not time to sack Bielsa and put Jackson in and play the kids.
No, we'll have to. Eddie Gray can manage both the first team and the under-23s now.
There's got to be a correlation between the under-23s losing form and us having loads of injuries, and therefore us borrowing a load of the 23s, surely.
Yeah, it's been a really disruptive time for them, and even when they have been able to name players who were maybe on the first team bench, they get subbed off early, and then they're having to accommodate players like Bamford and Ayling who won't be accustomed to how they play, and yeah, it's all just been a bit of a mess, I guess. Hopefully now we've got players back, depending on Cooper and Phillips, they'll be able to sort of pick a settled team then.
And we were winning in this one until Cresswell got sent off. So
he was playing the Calvin role, wasn't he? Though it's funny how Bielsa. I don't know. Do you think Bielsa insists on this just so they can up their understanding of the game, playing players out of position?
I would say so. He's done it. He did it with Ollie Casey, didn't he? Before we got rid of him, he played him there for some of the time. I don't know if it's, and obviously Strauch's had his stint in there as well, despite being I would say quite obviously a centre back. But yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, talking of Cresswell's understanding of the game, he got sent off and said that he didn't even know he'd been booked. So. Not ideal.
Ignorance is not a defence. You can't send me off. I didn't know about the first one.
What did he get booked for then?
I've not actually seen them.
No,
the yellows.
Did you watch it?
No, I'm not too sure. But yeah, apparently he didn't see the ref give him the first yellow card.
There was a shirt pull for the second one or something. Wasn't
so then
there?
when the second one came around, he was quite surprised.
I didn't know I was going that fast, officer.
Exactly.
I did.
It was a nice goal though. It was Gellert and Greenwood with a nice little link up in the box. So that was nice to see.
Congrats to the women as well. 90th minute winner in the FA Cup away at, what a team name this is. We were talking about Norton and Stockton, weren't we? I think some time ago, being up sort of Teesside way, Middlesbrough way. Norton and Stockton Ancients. Is that like the over 50s team?
Well, judging by the goalkeeper on the first, possibly did seem to just fall over as the Leeds players were running towards her, and then there was a really full-on offside call as well at the end, just to look over to the linesman as in like, any chance? No, okay, never mind. But
yeah, funny, I noticed that with the Brentford game. One of the first things I noticed from you do the skrill all the angles thing. There's a good angle. I think it might be the camera that's low down behind the goal, where the first thing the Brentford players do is like, it's look and appeal.
Yeah, just hopeful.
Like an automatic reaction, yeah.
Yeah, any chance of this being... No. Okay, never mind. But, it was a good last-minute winner. Olivia Smart, square ball zone.
Potty-mouthed fullback.
Yes, indeed. With a really good cross to the far post and put in, and then some it was really pleasingly muddy pitch. I feel like you don't get a good muddy pitch anymore. The pictures are more like in a big heap at the end, and everyone's filthy, and you think, good. It looks like a proper old FA Cup tie.
It goes back to what we were saying about the stadium. It's like we don't want the hybrid £1.5 million pitch with super drainage where it can piss it down for.
Yeah, everyone looks really clean.
Yeah, and snow never settles on it because there's this artificial microclimate going on where the grass always thinks it's 17 degrees out or whatever with undersoil heating. No. Take all that out. When you take it out next time, when it needs to be renewed, take the heating out, pour water on it, worsen the drainage, make it a mud bath. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
It would. I approve.
That's part one of the show done then here on YouTube. Hop over to the remaining parts of the playlist. Next, we are going to preview Chelsea and Manchester City, and in part 3, pick heroes and villains from the last 7 days.
The Square Ball Podcast.